The people who got rich from the internet didn't just use it, they owned a piece of it. And right now, the exact same split is happening with AI, except this time it's moving 10 times faster, and most Americans have no idea which side they're on. Hey everyone, I'm Prahlad Kumar, an MBA and PhD in economics. I've spent years studying how small behavioral shifts quietly shape massive wealth gaps. And here's the truth most people miss. It's not big, dramatic decisions that change your financial future. It's tiny, consistent habits that compound over time. Behavioral economics has proven this again and again. Systems beat motivation every single time. So today, I'm going to show you the exact framework for understanding the biggest wealth divide opening up in America right now, and the specific moves that determine which side of it you land on. Here's what we're going to cover. First, why using AI every single day might actually be making you poorer, not richer. Second, the specific economic mechanism that is quietly transferring wealth from AI users to AI owners, right now, while you're watching this. And third, the exact three-position framework that separates the people who will build wealth in this decade from the people who will wonder what happened to theirs. Don't go anywhere, because the third one is the one nobody is talking about, and it's the most important thing I'm going to say today. Let me start with a number, 83 million. That is how many Americans currently work in jobs that the McKinsey Global Institute has classified as having high AI exposure. 83 million people. That's roughly half the entire U.S. workforce. And here's what that classification actually means. It means that more than half of the core tasks in those jobs can now be performed, or are already being performed, by an AI system without any human involvement. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. If you are one of those 83 million people, there is a very high chance you already know AI is changing your industry. You've probably downloaded ChatGPT. You might be using Copilot at work. Maybe you've played around with Claude or Gemini, and because of that, you probably feel like you're adapting. You feel like you're keeping up. That feeling, that quiet confidence that you're one of the people who gets it, that feeling is the trap. Because the wealth gap that is opening up in 2026 is not between people who use AI and people who don't. That divide already closed. Almost everyone uses AI now. The gap that will define American financial outcomes for the next decade is between people who own and direct AI systems and people who simply consume them. And right now, without realizing it, most Americans are sitting firmly, comfortably, and dangerously on the consumer side. Here's what that actually costs you. Klarna, the fintech company, 40 million U.S. customers, one of the most recognized names in buy now pay later, announced in 2024 that their AI assistant was performing the work of 700 customer service employees. 700 people, not replaced gradually over years. Gone in a single operational decision. The company's headcount dropped from 5,000 to 3,800. And here is what made this story different from every previous automation story. Klarna's CEO said customer satisfaction actually improved after the switch. The humans weren't just replaced. They were replaced and the product got better. That's not a job loss story. That's a structural economic signal. When AI replacement improves outcomes, the financial case for human labor disappears entirely. And Klarna is not an outlier. Gartner reported that agentic AI adoption among Fortune 500 companies jumped from 14% in early 2024 to 67% by early 2026. In 2 years. What took the PC revolution a decade, agentic AI is doing in 24 months. Now I want to explain exactly what agentic AI is, because this term is the single most important thing to understand about 2026. And most people have never heard it. Most people's experience with AI is generative AI. You type a question, it gives you an answer. You type a request, it writes something. That is AI as a tool. You direct it, you evaluate the output, you decide what to do next. Agentic AI is categorically different. Agentic AI can receive a goal and then take autonomous, multi-step actions to achieve it, without requiring a human at each step. It can research, decide, execute, evaluate, and iterate on its own, continuously. Think about what that means in practice. An agentic AI system can be given the goal of finding, qualifying, and booking sales appointments for a business, and it will browse the internet, identify prospects, send personalized outreach, handle responses, and schedule calls, without a human touching the process. That's not a productivity tool. That is a replacement for an entire department. And here is the economic consequence that nobody is stating clearly enough. Every business that deploys an agentic AI system to replace a human function is simultaneously increasing its profit margin and decreasing its payroll. That money, the money that used to be wages, is now either profit or capital reinvestment. It flows upward, not to the workers who used to do the task, not to the consumers who buy the product, to the owners. This is the core economic mechanism, and it is identical to what happened during the Industrial Revolution, during the automation of manufacturing in the 1980s, and during the outsourcing wave of the 1990s, except the velocity is unprecedented. MIT economists Darren Acemoglu and Pasquale Restrepo documented exactly this pattern across 30 years of automation data. Their finding: automation suppressed wages for the bottom 70% of earners while concentrating productivity gains at the top. And that was slow automation. Mechanical automation. The kind that took years to implement and required massive capital investment. Agentic AI requires a subscription and an API key. Now I want to bring in the behavioral economics layer, because understanding why smart, educated, hardworking Americans are walking into this trap is just as important as understanding the trap itself. The cognitive bias at work here has a name: automation bias. It was first formally documented by researchers studying commercial airline pilots, specifically, pilots who overtrusted their automated flight systems and failed to intervene when the system made errors, because the system felt authoritative and reliable. The same bias is now operating in the financial decisions of millions of Americans. When you use an AI tool every day and it makes your work faster, your brain receives a signal: I am adapting successfully. I am keeping up. The tool feels like progress. And because it feels like progress, the much harder question: am I repositioning my financial life for an AI economy, not just my workflow, never gets asked. The comfort of productivity replaces the discomfort of strategic reinvention. And that is exactly what the companies on the other side of this wealth gap are counting on. Let me show you the data in a way that makes this impossible to dismiss. LinkedIn's 2025 Future of Work report found something that should be on the front page of every financial newspaper in America. Workers who can direct AI agents, meaning they understand how to design, deploy, and optimize AI workflows, earn 47% more than workers who simply use AI tools passively. 47%. That is not a small premium. That is the difference between a $65,000 salary and a $95,000 salary, doing work that is arguably less physically and cognitively demanding. And here is what makes that statistic alarming rather than just interesting. The gap is not between AI users and non-users. Both groups use AI. The gap is between directors and consumers of AI. One group owns the outcome. The other group performs a step in a process that can be automated tomorrow. Here's the second statistic that reframes everything. The Federal Reserve's distributional financial accounts show that the top 1% of Americans captured 38% of all new wealth created in the United States between 2020 and 2024, not 38% of income. 38% of all new wealth. Assets, equity, ownership stakes. And the primary driver? Technology asset appreciation. The people who owned equity in the companies building and deploying AI captured the value that AI created. The people who used the products built by those companies paid monthly subscription fees that funded the wealth accumulation of the people at the top. $100 invested in NVIDIA in January 2023 was worth approximately $1,100 by January 2025. $100 in a savings account at 4% was worth approximately $108. Same time period, same country. Two completely different financial realities, separated entirely by ownership versus consumption. Now here is the third statistic, and this is the one that should make every American between the ages of 35 and 54 stop and seriously reconsider their financial position. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported in 2025 that workers aged 35 to 54 face the highest AI displacement risk of any age cohort, combined with the lowest retraining rate. This is the cohort that is too experienced to be ignored by corporate AI deployments, too established in current skills to pivot quickly, and too far from retirement to simply wait it out. It is also, not coincidentally, the cohort with the most financial obligations: mortgages, college tuitions, aging parents, retirement timelines they cannot afford to reset. This is not a story about young people finding their first jobs in an AI economy. This is a story about people in the middle of their financial lives having the foundation quietly removed from under them. Only 6% of U.S. workers reported receiving any formal AI skills training from their employer in 2024, according to Pew Research Center. 6%. Companies are deploying AI aggressively while leaving 94% of their workforce without the knowledge to adapt. That is not an oversight. That is a structural incentive. A workforce that doesn't understand AI is easier to replace with AI. The institutional profit mechanics are not accidental, they are designed. Let me give you 3 insights that I want you to hold on to for the rest of this video and beyond. First insight: AI literacy is not AI leverage. Knowing how to use ChatGPT is table stakes in 2026. It is the new Microsoft Office proficiency. It keeps you employable for a window of time, but it does not build wealth, and it does not protect you from displacement. The people building generational wealth from AI are not the people who use it well. They are the people who own what it produces or who have built income streams that scale without requiring proportional increases in their own time. That distinction is the entire ballgame. Second insight: the subscription economy of AI is a wealth transfer mechanism. Every month you pay for Claude Pro, ChatGPT Plus, Copilot, Midjourney, and 5 other AI tools to protect your productivity, you are sending capital to the companies that are simultaneously funding the automation of your industry. That is not an argument against using AI tools. They are genuinely valuable and you should use them. It is an argument for also owning equity in the system you are funding. The Americans who got wealthy from Amazon were not only Amazon's customers, they were its shareholders. Third insight, and this is the one nobody is framing clearly enough. The definition of a worker and the definition of a capital owner are converging for the first time in economic history. For 2 centuries, workers traded time for income and capital owners received returns without trading time. Agentic AI breaks that boundary. A person who deploys an agentic AI system to run a business process owns capital that generates income without their ongoing time. A person who uses AI to do their job faster is still trading time for income, more efficiently, but structurally identically to before. The economic question of 2026 is not, are you good at AI? The question is, do you own any of what AI produces? So let's talk about what you can actually do this week with the money and time you have right now. 3 moves: specific, actionable, no theory. Move 1. Shift from AI consumer to AI equity holder. The simplest version of this is not complicated. If you are currently paying for AI subscriptions, allocate an equal dollar amount, monthly, automatically, into a diversified AI infrastructure ETF. The Global X Robotics and Artificial Intelligence ETF, ticker BOTS, or the iShares Exponential Technologies ETF, ticker XT, give you exposure across the infrastructure layer of the AI economy without requiring you to pick individual winners. You are already funding this industry. Own a piece of it. If you have a 401k, check whether your plan offers technology sector funds and rebalance a portion. Financial advisors generally suggest speaking with a professional before changing your allocation, but the principle is straightforward. The sector you are most economically exposed to is also the sector where ownership creates the most protection. Move from AI user to AI director in your current role. This is not about learning to code. It is about understanding workflow automation at a conceptual level. Identify the 3 most repetitive, high-volume tasks in your current job. Research whether those tasks can be performed by an AI agent. Tools like Zapier AI, Make, and Microsoft Power Automate allow non-technical users to build agentic workflows. Then do one of 2 things. Either automate those tasks yourself, freeing your time for the higher judgment work AI cannot replicate, or document that you have the ability to do so, and position that as a skill. The 47% income premium for AI directors is real, and it is accessible without a computer science degree. Move 3. Build one income stream that is AI leveraged rather than AI exposed. This is the hardest move but the most important one. An AI exposed income stream is one where AI can replace you, where you trade time for money performing tasks an AI could do. An AI-leveraged income stream is one where you use AI to deliver something at a scale or quality you could not achieve alone, and you capture the value of that output. This could be a service business where you use AI to serve 10 clients with the time it used to take to serve 2. It could be a content or information product where AI handles production and you provide the judgment and distribution. It could be a consulting practice where your expertise directs AI research and analysis that would have previously required a team. The form matters less than the principle. You own the outcome, AI performs the process. Here is where I want to leave you. The PC revolution created millionaires and it destroyed middle-class stability, often for different people at the same company, in the same city, in the same decade. The internet did the same. Every major technology wave in American economic history has followed the same pattern. Those who understood the new capital structure early enough to act on it accumulated disproportionate wealth. Those who adapted their skills but not their ownership position worked harder for less. Agentic AI is not a different story. It is the same story moving faster, with higher stakes, and with one crucial difference from every previous wave. The tools to get on the right side of this divide have never been more accessible. You do not need venture capital. You do not need a computer science degree. You do not need to be in Silicon Valley. You need to understand one thing that this video was designed to make undeniable. Using AI and owning AI are 2 different financial decisions. One keeps you on the treadmill. The other gets you off it. The window to choose is open right now. But windows and economic transitions do not stay open forever. If this reframed how you see the AI economy, subscribe. Not because I'm asking, but because next week we go deeper into exactly how to build that 3rd income stream from scratch, regardless of your current financial position.